Hey kids, this week you've been working on the third commandment. Remember the Sabbath day by keeping it holy. What does this commandment mean? It means that we should fear and love God so that we do not despise preaching and God's word, but hold it sacred and gladly hear and learn it. Well, today we get to hear a story about keeping the third commandment. It's a story about Jesus as a boy at 12 years old. And we see in this story how Jesus gladly hears God's word and he cherishes it. So let's listen. Now each year, Joseph and Mary went to Jerusalem in order to celebrate the Passover. When Jesus was 12 years old, they took him with them on the long trip to Jerusalem. When the feast of Passover was ended, Mary and Joseph left for home. They thought Jesus was with the others in their group. They did not know that he had stayed behind in Jerusalem. They traveled for about a day before they missed Jesus. They checked with all their friends and relatives, but no one had seen the boy. So they turned back to Jerusalem. Joseph and Mary searched all over the city for Jesus. Then, after 3 days, they found him. He was in the temple. Jesus was sitting among the teachers of the law, listening to them and asking them questions. Everyone there was amazed at how much he understood and how well he answered. Mary and Joseph were quite surprised to find their son there. "My son, why have you treated us this way?" Mary said to him. "Your father and I have been very worried about you. We've looked everywhere for you." But Jesus replied, "Why did you have to look for me? Didn't you know that I would be in my Father's house?" Mary and Joseph, they went looking for Jesus after they couldn't find him. And they found him in the temple, in church. And what was Jesus doing? He was listening to the teachers, to the pastors, as they read God's word to him. And he asked them questions. He was hearing the stories about maybe Moses or maybe Daniel in the lion's den. Maybe he was hearing stories about, maybe Abraham and Isaac. And Jesus was asking the teachers questions, trying to understand God's word a little bit better. He loved God's word. And he is the example of how we keep the commandment too. We are to love God's word as well. In church, we're to listen to God's word as it's being read, listen to the pastor as the word is being preached, and listen to our Sunday school teachers when they teach us God's word as well. And by doing that, we keep the commandment. We remember the Sabbath day by keeping it holy.